What's up, everybody? How's it going? This is the Alex Rollins Fantasy Football Start Sit Show on Sunday mornings. We are rocking and rolling on week 13. We have a lot to get to, and folks, we are now streaming on Twitch, live stream TV. Of course, I have my entire spreadsheet laid out, but unfortunately, I cannot see all the chat, so that is quite unfortunate. So until we get questions, and I'll kind of have to, for those of us on Twitch, we'll kind of have to jump back and forth, unfortunately. But let's get a quick chat room going and let's just start talking. And folks, let's get your fantasy football questions. Spencer Jensen, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Jake Gerard as well. All righty. Woo lad, Lamar Miller or T.Y. Hilton? So that's a good question. Lamar Miller or T.Y. Hilton? Lamar Miller of the Texans and T.Y. of the Colts. So woo lad, what we're going to do first, I have the spreadsheet here. And of course, if you want to look at the top, patreon.com/AlexRollinsNFL. You can join our private 24/7 fantasy channel where you will be getting this information nonstop all the time. So before I ask this question, before I answer this question, is this a PPR? Is this half PPR? What are we looking at here? Hit settings, and you can pop out the chat for Twitch. Thanks, Woo Lad. But hey, we're still struggling with our technical difficulties a little bit, so Woo Lad, we're gonna have to rock and roll with this for now. Lamar Miller, Hilton. So right off the bat, these are both difficult matchups. We'll first look at wide receivers and just see how the Jags have been, faring against wide receivers. So these are all their wide receiver matchups for the year, and they've only allowed 3 top 12 appearances. So T.Y. Hilton, right off the bat, he's going to be Andrew Luck's number one, but I still don't feel super comfortable with him in that situation. Now, when we go over and we look at how the Jags are doing, these are points against, right? So I'm looking at the defenses they're playing against wide receiver stats. So defense versus wide receiver, this is on Pro Football Reference. This is a fantastic website. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Can you see mine? Alex Jersey, yes, I can see yours. So T.Y. Hilton, I don't love him, but then we look at the matchup with Lamar Miller. We'll go back to our spreadsheet, and we will look at 2018 running backs. And, of course, the Texans are playing the Browns, who the Brownies have actually been giving up quite a bit of top running back performances here. So we see that there's been 6 this year, and that's either, there's 4 of them in the top 6, and those have been some studs: Kareem Hunt, James Conner, Melvin Gordon, James Conner again. So, I think the call is Lamar Miller here. I don't think the Texans really have what it takes. I don't think the Browns have what it takes to stop these running backs. I think Lamar Miller has come on. If you look at his splits with Deshaun Watson, as well as, his time with Deshaun Watson when Watson has been healthy and the quarterback for the Texans, he's really been fantastic. He just had that 97-yard touchdown run. So looks like he's getting hot. He's a veteran player. We kind of know what he is. He's not going to blow up and, be a week in, week out high-end RB1, but he could blow up. I'm not going to say he'll never blow up. I like him in this situation. The Browns, when we do look at Jake Gerard, I'll get to your question in just one second, as will I with Alex Jersey Casto. When we look at what the Browns have been doing against the run game, and by the way, this is half PPR, so full PPR, please just drop me a comment, something like that, just so I know what kind of situation you're in. The Browns, as we can see, are way up here. They are giving up 26 fantasy points per game against running backs. So I would go with Lamar Miller. What was your name? Woo Lad. All right. So I'm going to go to Facebook Live. Kyle Rudolph or Jordan Reed. Yes, Jake, those are your only options. They are unfortunate. I didn't do tight ends on this sheet. Tight end is a very odd position. There's kind of only a few guys who are really going to be anything good. So what I like to do when I look at tight ends is I'm just looking at the points against, right? I'm just playing matchups, Jake. So, Jake, I recommend that you go to my Twitch stream. You would be able to see the the layout that I have, the document that I put up. This is all how all the different teams are playing against different defenses and how to look at those matchups. Anyway, I'll get to Kyle Rudolph versus Jordan Reed. So the Vikings are playing the New England Patriots, who, I mean, they're not known for their defense, right? But I don't know. If you look fantasy-wise at how these guys are playing, how the Patriots are defending against different teams and whatnot, it's actually pretty impressive how the Patriots stack up despite, talent-wise, they're not incredible. So when we look at the Patriots in points against, the New England Patriots against tight ends look to be, they're actually giving up quite a few amount of points. So they're actually top 5 in the league. So I think Kyle Rudolph is interesting. I don't really love the quarterbacks that the Redskins have right now. Obviously, Alex Smith went down with that brutal injury. So I'm going Kyle Rudolph. I just don't trust the quarterbacks in Washington. So, Jake, make sure also, by the way, you're telling me this is PPR, 10-team, what kind of league is this? I just need to know those things. So, Kyle Rudolph is my answer. All righty. Alex Jersey Castu, my man from YouTube, picked Spencer Ware for Tevin Coleman. Since what happened with Kareem Hunt, good pickup. Yes, I think that Spencer Ware will be an RB1 really the rest of the year. Andy Reid, we've looked, in the past, and Andy Reid simply has not really gone to multiple running backs. We've seen Kareem Hunt be that guy. We see Spencer Ware. We've seen Spencer Ware do in the past. So I feel fully confident that Spencer Ware is going to be a solid RB1. He's not going to have the ceiling that Kareem Hunt's going to have, right? He's not as talented, but with the amount of volume he's about to receive, it's looking good. It's looking very good for Kareem Hunt. So, excuse me, for Spencer Ware, I meant. So I would start Spencer Ware. I'd start him over Coleman, I believe. It's still matchup based, but I like the Chiefs' offense. They're probably going to be they're going to be messing up the Raiders this week for sure. And the answer is Spencer Ware, Alex. So that's what you do. Giuseppe, good morning. How you doing? Pick 2, half PPR Chris Carson, Matt Breida, or James White. I don't like James White. I think that answers my question, Giuseppe. And by the way, Giuseppe, you should go to twitch.tv/AlexRollinsNFL if you want to see my spreadsheets and whatnot. We're still waiting on some comments on Twitch. WeLad69 is not really getting it done, but you can see everything that I've done. I put together a spreadsheet with all the different scoring defensively so far in the NFL, and that can really help you. You can look at week to week or season to season how teams are doing, how teams are faring. So, for example, when I look at running backs, the Saints have allowed one top 12 running back finish the whole entire year. So, if I'm looking at that, I'm not starting anybody against the Saints, right there. Dan Hutchins, my friend, good morning. How you doing? Go Maccabi football. All right, Giuseppe, hurting at wide receiver. Pick 1, half PPR, Christian Kirk, Mike Williams, or Chris Conley. Now, this is a tough one. Of course, matchups are going to play into this, Giuseppe, because none of these guys are top caliber wide receivers, right? We're not looking at guys who are, just real superstars or anything like that. With guys like Christian Kirk, Mike Williams, Chris Conley, it's very important to, check out the matchups, see how the teams have been faring against these wide receivers. Maybe a team is putting more on the first wide receiver than the second wide receiver, like these guys you mentioned. Some of them could come up big. So Christian Kirk is playing the Packers. That's a very interesting matchup. The Cardinals' offense has been really bad, but when we go to our spreadsheet here on twitch.tv/AlexRollinsNFL, we can see what kind of matchups Malcolm Silva Anderson, good morning, my friend. We can see what kind of matchups these different players have actually been receiving. So when I go to the Packers on my spreadsheet, the Packers have allowed 7 wide receiver 1 games this year, that's about middle of the road, but it's definitely on the heavier side a little bit. Not as good. So I think that's an interesting matchup, but I don't really trust the Arizona offensive line nor Josh Rosen nor the Cardinals defense, nor really any of these guys. Christian Kirk is still interesting, though. Chris Conley would definitely be an interesting play. Sammy Watkins is not playing right now. He's injured this week. And so I think Chris Conley could definitely be in a smash spot. It's probably Tyreek Hill. Of course, Kareem Hunt isn't playing. Tyreek Hill, not Sammy Watkins. Travis Kelce, Chris Conley is probably the third option. I think, you know what? Good morning. Good morning, Malcolm. And good morning, Gianna. How you doing, man? So, Giuseppe, I would have to go with I think I would have to go with Chris Conley. It would depend on what I need out of that position in my lineup. I would probably just go Chris Conley without looking at your lineup. But if you need a guy to, have a high ceiling, if those are your only three options, I guess they all kind of have the same ceiling. But if you need a guy with, okay, I have more questions here. I'm going Chris Conley. That's my answer. Okay. Dan Hutchins, Matt Breida, or Spencer Ware. Dan, it's great to see you. The answer is Spencer Ware. If you look at what Andy Reid, if you look at what Spencer Ware has done historically, even when there's no running back, when he's the RB1, when there's injuries there or suspensions or whatever, Spencer Ware is going to be the guy. And especially against the Raiders, the Chiefs are going to smash the Raiders. They're absolutely going to smash them. And when it comes to game script in football, the game script's probably going to be with the Chiefs, where Chiefs are going to be winning by a lot of points. And what to do at that point of the game, you're not going to keep passing the ball. You want to kill the clock. You want to be done with the game, right? You're a football coach, Dan. I'm sure you know that. So Spencer Ware is the answer. They're going to be destroying the Raiders and give him the ball. But Matt Breida, it's more the situation he's in. I just don't trust it. All right, Malcolm Silva Anderson. And by the way, everybody, I am on twitch.tv / Alex Rollins NFL. You guys should check it out. I have some awesome free content that is streaming live there right now. You'll be able to see what I'm looking at and not just be my side hose on Facebook here. But anyway, no offense to you. Nick Chubb or Robert Woods? Now, I'm assuming, this is in your flex. This is half PPR. That's a pretty good question. So, Malcolm, what I've been preaching on this channel is you very often have to look at lineups and you have to look at matchups, right? So, right off the bat, I would want to know which of your guys, what do you need from this lineup, Malcolm? Are you a clear favorite? Are you projected to win a crap ton of points? Are Alex Nestor good morning? Do you need this flex position to be a smash spot? Do you need somebody to score you 20 or 30 points? Because one of these guys might not be that guy, right? I do like both these players, Nick Chubb and Robert Woods, especially in half PPR and for the flex. But, yeah. So, if you look in the last couple weeks, Nick Chubb has put up some pretty incredible numbers. So, I would think he's more of a ceiling play. Browns are playing a Texans team. Let's look at our spread sheet to see how the Browns have been doing at running back. I guess I already answered that. Or excuse me, this is how the Browns, how the Texans are doing running back. So the Texans have allowed 4 top 12 finishes out of the 12 games they've played, the 11 or 12 games depending on the bye. So it's not a great matchup. They've only allowed 1 RB1 finish. That was Saquon Barkley in week 3. So that's kind of tricky. I always love Robert Woods. I think, Malcolm, I don't think you can mess it up, man. I think these are both great options. Half PPR. Ooh. I'm leaning Nick Chubb because he looks awesome, but I think Robert Woods, they're both awesome. So I think you should be flying. All right, Florian. Gerald Everett, Jimmy Graham, or the Vance MC. This is a full 1 PPR. Point every catch, and it looks like Flo needs some help in his tight end spot. So, Jimmy Graham, Everett. Man, these are some poopy options, my friend. So, I'm eliminating Gerald Everett. I just don't love him. Dan, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. I don't love Gerald Everett. He just doesn't get it done. He's not a part of the offense. He always every now and then he does something, but I don't want to rely on Gerald Everett until I see him consistently week to week getting 4 or 5 targets at least, which he doesn't. Jimmy Graham or Vance McC. So, Flo, once again, I recommend that you look at our Twitch stream. You'll be able to see what's on my main computer. Right now, you're just unfortunately on my phone, where I cannot see myself as big as I once did in the past, which is quite unfortunate. So I do recommend you go to my Twitch stream. You'll be able to see the free content that I have where I'm picture in picture. So, it's not just my face. Jimmy Graham or Vance McSee. So let's go on the tight end scoring, and let's just see which is the better matchup. Is it the team the Steelers are playing against, or is it the Cardinals? Man, there's just so many freaking matchups. It's hard to remember who the Packers are playing against. Packers are playing against the Cardinals, yeah. So Packers supposed to score the fourth most points. So let's look at how the Cardinals D has been faring against tight ends. It actually looks like they're doing pretty good, surprisingly. Let's look. We know the Steelers are playing the Chargers, of course, and the Chargers have been giving up almost identical points. So, Flo, let's go on airyards.com right now. And you know what, Flo, since I know you, I'm going to let you go on Air Yards. I'm going to let you check out those two players, okay? airyards.com, I want you to find the target share. Also look up red zone stats. I want to see which player is getting more targets, which player is getting more red zone targets. All right. Malcolm is projected down by 10. Malcolm, I already gave you my answer, brother. Sorry. Alex Nestor, how much will the Chiefs miss Hunt? Of course, Malcolm, going Chubb, love it. Del Campo, good morning, my friend. And folks, of course, this is a twitch.tv/Alex Rollins NFL show where we are not getting any comments. They're all on Facebook. Hey, it happens, right? How much will the Chiefs miss Hunt? So that's a good question, Nestor. And very tricky one. Now, I just want to start off by saying, with everything Kareem Hunt did, man, I mean, it's really incredible how, men in these days, and we just, so many of us struggle with, not myself, so many of us struggle with just a simple not hitting another person. So Kareem Hunt, completely condemn what you've done. Be better, man. Be better. Take the time. Now, the Chiefs will miss Kareem Hunt. I think the offense won't be quite as amazing. It won't be quite as rounded. I will say they will be relatively as explosive. Now, Sammy Watkins isn't playing today, but they do have plenty of offensive weapons, right? Now, when you take out some of the running game, it's going to mess with Mahomes a little bit. It makes the play action a little bit worse. At the end of the games, when you really need somebody who you can give the ball to kill the clock and finish out the game, that it's not going to be Kareem Hunt anymore. Now, I think Spencer Ware is a fine plug-in guy, but he's not as good as K. Hunt. This is going to hurt the passing game a tiny bit. I think it just makes the Chiefs a little bit worse. And also something very important, Kareem Hunt is probably a better blocker than Spencer Ware. If Patrick Mahomes starts wearing a couple off the face mask or something because he's not getting the blocks from Spencer Ware, that could be a problem. It just takes one big hit. So I'm going to move on to some fantasy questions, but I am definitely a little bit more worried about the Chiefs. And generally, I know I should expand on this now, but I don't have time. I don't think the Chiefs are making this or winning the Super Bowl. I just don't think Pat's too young, man. He hasn't gone through that adversity yet. So Flo asks again, Doug Martin or Jordan Howard? Man. So Flo, I'm assuming you're still in that one PPR league. That's a tough call. That is a tough call. I would still have to go matchups. In terms of talent, it's Jordan Howard, and it's not even close. But Doug Martin has been getting, Doug Martin gets a lot of touches. And Jordan Howard's been splitting those touches with freaking Tariq Cohen. So it's definitely a tough call. So, Flo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 4for4.com. This is a little plug-in for 4for4.com. And hope you don't see my password here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see which player is getting more touches, okay? I want to see which running back in the last 3 to 5 weeks. So let's go from week 6, okay? And we're going to look at the Raiders first to see how they're splitting that up. And then we are going to go to the Bears. So it looks like Doug Martin's the clear favorite. The only really other guy is Jalen Richard. So since week 6 to week 11, Doug Martin has out-touched Jalen Richard by 20 snaps. He's getting 11 targets a game, Doug Martin is. So let's go find out what Jordan Howard's getting. So when we go to Chicago, we're still at week 6 to 12, same sample size. Jordan Howard's getting 14 touches a game. That's your answer, man. That's your answer. You start Jordan Howard. Yeah, Jordan Howard is the answer. So let's go back a little bit. We don't have any questions right now, which is, of course, okay. Oh, yes, we do. Snow VMN 103 Mixon or Ware Standard. Okay. So appreciate the question. Thank you very much. And by the way, if you're interested in more fantasy help, you should look at the top patreon.com/AlexRollins-NFL to join private 24/7 fantasy channel on patreon.com. Now, the question was Spencer Ware or Joe Mixon. Now, Joe Mixon has more talent. Spencer Ware is in a better situation. And what I want to do is I want to look at these two guys, right? I want to look at the matchups they are playing in. So when I look at Joe Mixon, the Cincinnati Bengals are playing the Denver Broncos. Of course, they have Driscoll and not Dalton at quarterback. So that definitely affects it. And, that's my answer right there, my friend. So Snow moving. Snow MVN. I don't really know what your name is, my friend. I'm going Spencer Ware. I think he's a low-end RB1. I don't love what the Bengals are doing out there. I never trust a backup quarterback, and I trust the Chiefs, once again, like I said, to kick the crap out of the Raiders. It's a 14-point line, something like that, 13.5. So hands down, I'm going Spencer Ware. Joe Mixon, though, I wouldn't have a problem if you went with Mixon. He's the better talent, like I said. I'm going Spencer Ware. He's going to get a lot of touches. All right, Kyle Hipple, good morning, my friend. And Alex Nesta. Fantasy question. How will Tom Brady fare versus that Minnesota D? Bad. Very bad. Tom Brady is an interesting fantasy player. So what I'm going to do right now, Alex Nestor, is I'm just going to read you off Tom Brady's weekly finishes. And until you really look at it, and by the way, it's just in a standard half PPR, there's no weird scoring or 10 points for a touchdown. It's your normal 4 points for a touchdown, 1 or 2 points. Max Orange, still good morning, my friend. Any questions are welcome. So let's go through Tom Brady's week to week. We'll make sure I don't have a question real quick, but this is a fantasy question. So Tom Brady week to week, just for quarterbacks, how is he faring against his fellow quarterbacks? Where is he? So week 1, he is the quarterback 15. Not great. Then we go to week 2, quarterback 13. Now, if you're in a 12-team league, the top 12 quarterbacks are quarterback 1. If you're quarterback 15, that is a backup caliber player. That's something that's simply just not going to help our team. We might have to go to the waiver wire. We have to find other quarterbacks for better matchups. Might be way crappier. So somebody like Blake Bortles against a bad defense is often better against Brady versus a good defense. And sometimes it's Brady in general. I mean, Brady, a lot of times, simply just does not finish in the top 10 or 12. Now, he will do it, of course, but so will many quarterbacks. Week 4, quarterback 15, not in the top 12. Now we go to week 5, quarterback 2, valuable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to completely lambast the guy, but he's not a consistent fantasy option. Quarterback 12 in week 6. We go to week 7. He was the quarterback 5. And it's like, he'll get you a top 12, top 10, top 5 performance, maybe every couple weeks, something like that. But it's not like he's putting up quarterback 1 numbers every week. This isn't a guy who, you hear Tom Brady, GOAT, best of all time, greatest of all time, blah, 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 blah. It's simply not true in fantasy. So, Nestor, I'll give you a little bit of, a background in what I do when I'm looking at quarterbacks. I try and draft a quarterback as late as possible. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm, just not drafting a quarterback, obviously. But it doesn't mean I'm waiting till the 15th round. I'm not waiting till the 18th round. I'm not waiting till my last pick. I'm trying to get a guy who, it's easier looking back on it now, but I was drafting guys like Matt Ryan. I had a little bit of Drew Brees, though he was a little expensive, but guys who were a little down last year who are going to pick it up this year, or guys like Trubisky or Bortles or Mariota. Some of those guys would have screwed you over this year, but guys who run the ball are incredibly valuable as quarterbacks in fantasy football. I mean, those points are scored differently than passing plays, and it's really just it's been called a cheat code. It really is. So that's why Blake Bortles is incredible in fantasy. He's been finishing better than Tom Brady in many games of this year. I've been using him. He's awesome. I guess he just got benched, so it's probably not great. But then you just pick somebody else up who's playing the the Bengals or somebody crap or something like that. So Dak Prescott. I'll assume you mean just in general, but I'm glad. Here, wait. We'll take a question real quick. Jay Gooden, 1017 from YouTube. Good morning. Big Ben or Deshaun Watson at quarterback? So this goes into what I was just saying. Without getting too much into it, it's Deshaun Watson. The Cleveland Browns is who they're facing. And Jay Gooden, you should go to twitch.tv/AlexRollinsNFL. That's where you can see my spreadsheet and see the kind of matchups that have been happening so far this year. I color coordinate it. It's freaking beautiful, man. I can't lie. So Big Ben or Deshaun Watson. Now the Brownies have been actually doing pretty darn good. The Brownies have been playing awesome against quarterbacks. They've allowed 3 top 12 finishes, and it's been against Matt Ryan, who finished quarterback 7, Pat Mahomes, who finished quarterback 4, and Derek Carr when they played that crazy game. So matchup-wise, this actually isn't great. Now, this game is in Texas, I believe. This game is in Texas or in Houston. So that helps Deshaun Watson's cause a bit. But then you got the Chargers. Man, those are both tough matchups. So, Jay Gooden, I'm going Deshaun Watson because of the running, but it's definitely a tricky question. All right, Gus, that's the dude from the Ravens running back. Tariq Cohen, Jordan Howard, sit one. Man, that is a bit of a tough question. Esther, good point about Dak Prescott. I'll get to that in a sec. Jay Gooden, you're busting my butt here. So, Jay Gooden, this is what I'm going to do. So, I was just on Player Touches, the Player Touches app. It's on 4for4.com. If you check out my Twitch right now, you can see what I'm looking at. And I can see that Jordan Howard is getting 14 touches a game, whereas Tariq Cohen is only getting 10 touches a game. So when you really start getting into fantasy football, you realize that opportunity and touches and targets are more important ultimately than catches, yards, touchdowns. Now, those are what gets you the points, but we're trying to look at consistent week-to-week options. We want opportunity, which is targets, touches, etc. So this is the last 6 weeks, Jordan Howard's been getting 14 touches. Tariq Cohen has been getting 10. Now, it is important if that's a standard or PPR. I think that one's a toss-up. And by the way, I'm starting with Edwards. All right, say noob before you leave. Do you think there are any players that are playing much better in real life and their fantasy numbers suggest who might be good to keep an eye on for the next couple of weeks? Jay Gooden, you're welcome. I'm going Jordan Howard, not Tariq Cohen. So Jordan Howard and Gus Edwards. Hello, Varun. Yeah, I mean that's a tough one, say noob. Maybe you should hit me up on Twitter at AlexRollinsNFL or on YouTube or however you want to do it. If you have, that one's going to take a little longer than just a couple of minutes. So, Alex Nestor, back to your question on whether Dak Prescott is a good quarterback in general and if he's a good fantasy quarterback is my question. He does run a lot, so he is interesting in fantasy. I'll give him that. When we look at his overall numbers for just in terms of fantasy football, this is week 1 through 13. For a second, I thought he was quarterback 6. I was like, that doesn't sound right. So he's actually playing pretty awful. He's quarterback 20. in a quarterback one league. That's not good. That's backup play. He's a quarterback too, so I don't think he's rosterable in a one quarterback league. I think he should be on the waiver wire. He has been picking it up. If you look at it's really a tale of two Dak Prescott's this year. If you look at his first half versus second half, his fantasy numbers look completely different. So I think the jury's still out. If you're playing in something that's longer than a redraft league, put him on the waiver, man. He sucks. I think he sucks. He sucks. All right, Varun from YouTube. Joe Mixon or Austin Eckler or Spencer Ware in the flex. Pick one. Varun, that's a great question. I would have to ask what kind of league you're playing in. Is it 10-team, 12-team, PPR, standard? What are we talking about? But just from looking at it, I've been talking up Spencer Ware on the show. It's really just because Andy Reid will give him the high majority of the targets, of the touches, which includes targets. But I just believe that Spencer Ware, it's ultimately opportunity. Okay. Oh, 8-team ESPN league. Wow, 8-team. I humbly recommend that you choose a league that is a little bigger. It just gives the team more depth, or the league more depth. So might require a little bit of skill, but hey, man, as long as you're playing fantasy and watching football, I'm on your side. So I would go Spencer Ware. Eckler is interesting because Melvin Gordon isn't playing. And Melvin Gordon's supposed to come back next week, so keep an eye out for that. So maybe they just try and use the crap out of Eckler. Of course, they're playing the Steelers. So Varun, I recommend going to my Twitch stream. You can see all my different matchups, and I have them color-coded. It looks really nice. I have to admit, it's green and blue. It's a whole thing. So as I said, I'm leaning Ware, but I always like to look at matchups. I also look at, this is free, of course, I look at Pro Football References 2018 fantasy points against. So if you just type that into Google, you'll be able to find it. So I would look at running back stats. I would look at running back scoring. Now, the Chargers are facing the Steelers. So I would want to look at, how the Steelers are facing against running backs. Now, they actually are doing pretty well. They're in like the bottom third of the league, so they give up the third least. So that's not great. The Chiefs are playing the Raiders, which is another reason they're talking up Spencer Ware. The Raiders are giving up like the 8th most points, so Spencer Ware. It's just Spencer Ware. With Mixon, that's interesting, but like I said, I don't really trust the quarterback, Jeff Driscoll. I believe Jeff's his first name. Backup quarterbacks in general, man, I'm just not a fan. So I think that'll hinder the offense, if anything, and they're not going to be leading late in the game. So Joe Mixon isn't going to get those end of the game touchdowns or touches. So it's Spencer Ware. So Alex Nestor, I'll get back to a question that you asked earlier, or you know what? Varun, have a great one, man. Appreciate you stopping in. I'm going to expand on why I think Dak Prescott isn't good. For those of you who are new to this channel or new to this video, check out my YouTube channel. You just search Alex Rollins, my name, and I break down Coach's All-22 film. And I do a great job. I'm not going to lie to you. The videos are incredible. So I haven't really broken down Dak Prescott on the channel, but I have watched him extensively on the All-22, and I've just never really been a fan. I'll give you my full breakdown from starting in 2016. So we remember in 2016, they have Romo, the Cowboys. They have a great team. They look incredible. The roster is awesome. Alex, you should post your breakdown videos on the NFL Reddit. They would love it. Say noob, I appreciate that. And I do. And they do like it. So I very much appreciate that. Yeah. And by the way, check out the Twitch stream. It's even better than the YouTube stream, I'm telling you right now. So why was Dak Prescott so good in 2016? When I watched him, Dak has always had an incredible amount of awareness. And as I've been learning more and more about football, I've realized how important awareness is. Now, how would I define awareness for a quarterback? It's not exclusive to play on the field, though Dak's awareness on the field is very good. his awareness in the pocket is incredible. Now, in 2016, that's when the Cowboys' offensive line was entirely healthy. They had, a ton of weapons outside, but the line was really what elevated Dak Prescott in my eyes. He was very, very comfortable as the down progressed. So he snapped the ball, and he was able to just sit there. And it looked like he had a level of comfort and confidence in that offensive line that emotionally he knew that they weren't just going to let anybody into the pocket, right? So he sat in the pocket. And when a quarterback knows that he has time to let the play develop, when he knows he has time for his routes to get open and for, the longer the play lasts, a quarterback's quarterback rating just gets higher and higher. You have more time to pick apart the defense. Now, if the defense is in man coverage, how long can you really guard somebody one-on-one, regardless if you're in the NFL or if you're playing flag football at Bushrod, right? So Dak had this way of just sitting in the pocket, and he would wait till his guys got open. And, I'm not trying to take that away from Dak. It takes an incredible amount of confidence in that line to be able to sit there, right? You have these 300-pound men trying to kill you, and he's just sitting there letting the play develop. And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He never really has. He's playing kind of weird football. He's been fumbling a lot recently, and just in general in his career, I guess. But, so, that's in 2016, we saw him get to the playoffs. I'm not going to come out and say that I was, yelling on a mountaintop that Dak Prescott sucks, but I wasn't fully convinced. He played great in his 2016 year. You look at his stats, it was one of the best freaking years for a quarterback in NFL history as a rookie. So he played great. Now, 2017, we start to see the team get a little worse, right? It's just natural regression in the NFL. There's going to be some injuries to the O-line. Zeke had that weird suspension, which was totally deserved, by the way. So, the team gets a little worse around him. We saw that happen in the beginning of this year. And he's not the kind of quarterback to elevate players around him. The O-line gets a little injured last year. Tyron Smith, their left tackle, got injured. And they couldn't protect Dak. I think it was that Falcons game. Something Claiborne. A Claiborne. He had like 6 sacks. And for a quarterback, if you have confidence in your line, and then all of a sudden you're getting hit in the back of the head from the blind side because Adrian Claiborne just sacked you all day, it's going to change the way you think about the game. It's going to change the way you process reads. He felt comfortable getting to his third read before. Now he's getting to his first. At the beginning of the year, he's getting to his first. And then he's getting his hit. So that's my thoughts on Dak. He's holding the team back. They can win with him, but he won't carry them. That's ultimately what I think. All right, a couple more minutes on here. Brandon Romero, good to see you. Good morning. Chris Carson, Dion Lewis, Theo Riddick, TJ Yeldon, pick 2, PPR. Whew. So these guys are not, your prototypical RB1s. Brandon, as I've been preaching for a while now, it's important to look at matchups, my friend. So I recommend you go to my Twitch stream. It adds a visual aspect to what I'm doing. You can see all the different information I'm looking at, which I could then share with you. If you like what I have to say, please check out my patreon.com. It's a private fantasy channel, 24/7, where I will answer any question at any time, besides when I sleep, of any question you have, and I can help you, as can we. So I recommend checking that out, Brandon. And now for your question. Bryce Hufford, good morning, my friend. Enjoy the football games. Brandon Romero, Chris Carson, Dion Lewis, Theo Riddick, TJ Yeldon. So my general thoughts so far, I'll take a couple minutes to answer this one. General thoughts, TJ Yeldon, of course, Leonard Fournette is suspended for punching somebody in the face who did have a face mask on. So TJ Yeldon's an interesting option there. They are playing the Colts at home. Colts will probably kick the crap out of them. So I like Yeldon because Fournette's not playing, but not for the rest of the season. So I think Yeldon's in there. Brandon, I was talking earlier. So what I do is I go to 4for4.com, which I do pay for the subscription. It's not too expensive, but they have this tool called the Player Touches app. And it's really good for mostly good for running backs because touches are or catches and carries combined, and it's kind of hard to find that in general. So when I go to these different teams and I look at, oh, say new before you leave, my guy, switching over from YouTube to join the Twitch stream. I love it. I love it. Okay, so say noob, you're talking about my football stuff before. Completely right. I have some awesome videos on the Rams on YouTube on my channel. Definitely recommend checking those out. You learn about the Rams. Very interesting stuff, in my opinion. So back to Brandon Romero. I'm going with Yeldon. I like Chris Carson. He has been getting a good amount of the touches, excuse me. So let's look at running backs. We'll look at Seattle. And they are playing the Niners. You know what? It's Chris Carson. It's Chris Carson. And the reason I say Chris Carson is because the Niners are trash. They have Nick Mullins starting, who's trash. And when you look at game script, the Seahawks are going to try and run the ball. We know that, right? And they're going to be winning this game. We can almost guarantee that, regardless of the fact that it's in. I'm pretty sure it's in San Francisco. Oh no, it's at Seattle. It's at Seattle. So, yeah, man, that's my answer. I'm going Chris Carson, and I am going TJ Yeldon. So there you go. You know, Theo Riddick's interesting. Oh, man, I just, yeah. Okay, Chris Carson and TJ Yeldon. So we got 3 more minutes. I'm going to get to say new before you leave. And he's just asking a question about quarterbacks in general. And I love talking quarterbacks, man. I can't lie. So he goes, you can literally see that change with Goff in the first 6 games or so under McVay, where you can see him get more comfortable in the pocket completely. Just the way he moves around in there, the way he goes through his reads, etc. You can see the change happening in real time. So, man, yeah, I totally agree. I love what you just said there. Jared Goff has obviously just transformed his game in front of our eyes. I've talked a little bit about the Rams. I think I talked about like last year, maybe a couple, but simply, I'm not trying to. Maybe I'm trashing Jared Goff a little bit. The percentage of McVay versus Jared Goff, like how much of it is McVay and how much of it is Goff? It's like 70-30 McVay. It's like 80-20 McVay. McVay he is a genius. And a basic rule of thumb I go off of for quarterbacks versus, offensive coordinators or coaching, how open are the receivers? I mean, if you watch a Rams game, they are open all the time. A big part of that's their weaponry. Don't get me wrong. If you have Todd Gurley, and once again, like I said, check out that Rams video on YouTube. It talks a lot about what I'm saying here. What I did wish I did though was I've watched every throw Jared Goff's ever made in the NFL. I watched in 2016, and I didn't hate Jared Goff in 2016. Part of that's the contrarian in me. But he did some good things if you have coaches film on NFL Game Pass, definitely check out his 2016 game. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. 2017 game. It was in New Orleans. No, sorry. It's 2016. It was with Jeff Fisher. With Jeff Fisher, he's in New Orleans, and he makes some nice throws. And you can see when he played at Cal, he had that pocket presence. Didn't really get to show it off year 1, but there were these flashes of it, and I really wish I made a scouting tape then. I was making some scouting videos back then, and I remember liking Jared Goff, and I was like, you know what, he's not done. We can't write him off yet. McVay has been a huge part of that, but yeah. So anyway, all right, folks, that is my video. Brandon Romero, thanks a lot, brother. A link to your Twitch. You know, man, I really should have put that on. But, of course, we will be here every Sunday right before the games answering your question. I do recommend going on Twitch TV because you can see what I will be looking at. You can follow me everywhere at Alex Rollins NFL, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. I mean, dude, I do it all. Make sure to catch my YouTube channel. I just came out with a video yesterday. Top 3 plays broken down with Coach's All 22 film. It was really great. It was a ton of fun. I definitely recommend checking it out if you want to see how, a little behind the scenes of football. If you like this video, if you like this stream, if you like anything I do, or you just want more general information on fantasy football, football in general, schemes, offenses, defenses, NFL, point spreads, anything like that, please join my patreon.com/AlexRollinsNFL. Even a donation as small as $1 grant you access to the channel. It is well worth your $1. It's 100 pennies. Hey, what can I say, right? So, folks, enjoy the games. Enjoy the day. Week 13 is here. It is absolutely incredible. Happy holidays, folks. The NFL is back on Week 13. I hope you enjoy it. All right, I'm out. I'm out still. Finish. Hit the button twice. YouTube, you're the last one for me to end the video. But I will have to say, I'll just keep talking a little bit. Why not, right? I'm going to get my stuff off on here. All right. How on earth? Oh, so end stream is right at the bottom. YouTube, enjoy the day.